Every great mystery starts the same way, with silence where there should be noise. After the quantum storm settled, Atlas built something new, a dish of scrap and starlight. He called it the neural antenna. Its only job? Listen. Not for signals from Earth, not even from this universe. Somewhere out there, other universe maker kits were spinning too. Other boxes, other architects. If ours existed, why not 1,000 more? Atlas tightened the last bolt and looked up through the dome. Tonight, for the first time, he would ask the biggest question in science. Is anyone out there? The goggles on his forehead flickered to life, syncing with the antenna's core. Cobalt light poured across the workshop as the machine hummed awake. Somewhere between excitement and dread, Atlas flipped the switch. The dish rotated toward the open sky, hunting for company. This was no longer a war. This was a search. And searches, Atlas was about to learn, can be the loneliest missions of all. In 1950, a physicist named Enrico Fermi sat down to lunch with 3 colleagues. The talk turned to aliens, flying saucers, and the size of the galaxy. Then Fermi asked one simple question that scientists still can't fully answer. Where is everybody? Our galaxy alone holds over 100 billion stars, and the observable universe holds trillions of galaxies. Statistically, life should be common, loud, everywhere, yet every scan of the sky comes back the same. Quiet. This gap between should exist and seems absent is called the Fermi Paradox. It isn't science fiction. It's one of the most serious open problems in astrophysics. Atlas projected the numbers onto the dome ceiling, stars blinking one by one. So many stars, so many possible homes. So why hadn't a single one answered back? For 70 years, humans have pointed telescopes at the sky and heard nothing. Atlas was about to try the same experiment, one universe up. If Earth's silence was a paradox, what would 1,000 silent universes mean? To estimate how many neighbors we might have, one scientist wrote an equation. In 1961, Frank Drake proposed a formula to count possible civilizations. It multiplies the rate of star formation by the fraction of stars with planets, by the number of planets that could support life, by the fraction where life actually starts, by the fraction where intelligence evolves, by the fraction that develops technology we could detect, and finally by how long a civilization survives to be heard. Multiply enough hopeful numbers together, and the sky should be shouting. But Atlas wasn't counting stars. He was counting boxes. Every universe maker kit was its own roll of the dice, its own Drake equation. If Architect Boy's kit could birth a universe with fireflies and fox generals, how many other kits, on how many other shelves, had done the same? The math said, probably plenty. The silence said otherwise. Atlas activated full scan mode. The dome dissolved into a glowing hexagonal grid, a map of possible universes. Each cell represented one potential box, drifting somewhere in the great shelf beyond. Green meant active. Gray meant untested. Black meant nothing back yet. The grid lit up cell by cell as the antenna swept the dark. Cell 1, silence. Cell 2, static. Cell 3, just old cosmic leftovers, the afterglow of the Big Bang itself. Atlas accidentally tuned into that leftover glow and got elevator music. He yanked his headphones off, unimpressed. Not exactly first contact. 99 cells scanned, 99 empty. The hum of the machine started to sound like a held breath. Vast doesn't begin to describe it, and vast, it turns out, is very quiet. Atlas double-checked the wiring. Everything worked. The problem wasn't the antenna. The problem was the universe. There's a grim explanation for all that silence. The Great Filter. The idea is simple and unsettling. Something makes intelligent life incredibly rare or incredibly short-lived, and nobody knows which side of that filter we're standing on. Option 1, the filter is behind us. Maybe the jump from simple cells to complex life is so unlikely we're one of the few who made it. If that's true, the silence is actually good news. We're just early and rare. Option 2, the filter is ahead of us. Maybe civilizations reliably destroy themselves. Climate collapse, runaway AI, nuclear mistakes, before they can shout across the stars. If that's true, the silence is a warning. Atlas gulped and glanced at his own workshop. Wires everywhere, alarms blinking. He unplugged something smoking in the corner, just in case. For Architect Boy's kit specifically, the filter question got personal. Every civilization inside every box was one bad decision from going quiet forever. Atlas didn't like that math one bit. He kept scanning anyway. Better to know than to wonder. Hour after hour, cell after cell, the grid stayed dark. Atlas set down his wrench and, for the first time, felt truly small. Even a fox who once fought a multiverse war can feel like the only light in a very big room. He thought of Architect Boy, asleep now, 3 rooms and 1 dimension away. A memory flickered. The boys laughed the day this whole universe was switched on. Am I the only one who gets to laugh like that? Atlas whispered. Loneliness, Brian reminds us, isn't the same as being alone. Silence in the data doesn't mean absence in the universe. It may just mean absence of proof. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, a rule scientists live by. Atlas printed that sentence and taped it above his workbench. Maybe the neighbors were shy. Maybe they were far. Maybe they were listening too. He adjusted the antenna's gain 1 more notch, refusing to give up. Somewhere in the static, patience started to feel like its own kind of courage. The goggles caught 1 flicker of color he hadn't noticed before. Atlas froze. A single hexagon on the grid blinked. Not green, not black. Amber. An irregular pulse, faint, buried under a wall of static. Atlas leaned in so close, his nose nearly touched the screen. Beep, 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 beep. Not random, patterned. Patterns don't happen by accident. His paws trembled over the controls. Could this be it? He boosted the gain, filtered the noise, and waited. The pulse held steady for exactly 6 seconds, then vanished. Gone. Just like that. Atlas rewound the recording 20 times. It was real. It was there. But if someone really was out there, why only 6 seconds? Why not shout? Why not answer back properly? A colder thought crept in. Maybe some voices choose to stay quiet on purpose. Maybe out there, being heard isn't always safe. Atlas didn't know the answer yet, but he knew this wasn't over. Atlas logged the pulse. Signal 001. Status unconfirmed. Priority highest. He backed up the file 3 times. Some discoveries are too important to lose. Tonight's search ended without contact, but not without a clue. The paradox was never really, are we alone? It was, are we listening correctly? Somewhere between the honeycomb grid and 1 6-second pulse, the search had changed shape. Every subscriber watching tonight becomes part of that search. Another set of ears on the sky. Atlas saved the coordinates of signal 001 in a file marked Do Not Delete. He looked at the amber blip 1 last time before shutting down the dome. Next time, he said, we find out why you went quiet. The workshop lights dimmed to a low cobalt glow. Somewhere in the dark forest of stars, something may have just noticed him back. Thank you for listening tonight, architects. In every sense of the word, the archive grows with every ear that tunes in. See you next transmission.